Good morning all of you. In this video we will discuss about another division, Pteridophyta. And the members which are belongs to Pteridophyta are called pteridophytes. Let us discuss some important characteristic features of pteridophytes. Pteridophytes are seedless vascular plants. They are seedless vascular plants including hostels and ferns. So these are the two important classes of pteridophytes. They are seedless. They do not produce seeds, but they are vascular plants. That means they possesses vascular tissues like xylem and phloem. Let us discuss some important characteristics of pteridophytes. And usually pteridophytes also grow in cool, damp and shaded places. And some of them, very few pteridophytes also flourish in sandy soil conditions. Usually they grow in cool, damp and shaded places, but very few of them they also flourish in sandy and soil conditions. And evolutionarily pteridophytes are the first terrestrial plants which possesses vascular tissues like xylem and phloem. So xylem and phloem initially in the evolutionarily they are the first originated in pteridophytes. So as you all know, so xylem helps in transport of water and minerals and phloem helps in transport of food material. So these are the pteridophytes are the first terrestrial plants. The first terrestrial plants are bryophytes, but the first terrestrial plants which possesses vascular tissues are pteridophytes. Both xylem and phloem initially originated in pteridophytes. And the dominant phase of pteridophytes, or the main plant body, that is sporophyte. Whereas in bryophytes, the main or the dominant phase is gametophyte. Gametophyte is the main plant body in case of bryophytes. But in pteridophytes, the main plant body is sporophyte. And pteridophytes are also called amphibians of plant kingdom or vascular amphibians. They are also called vascular amphibians of plant kingdom. Vascular amphibians, pteridophytes also easily they can live in soil conditions, but they are also dependent on water for sexual reproduction. Similarly as in bryophytes. So if they grow in both conditions, then they said to be amphibians. But these amphibian plants possesses vascular tissues, hence they are called vascular amphibians of plant kingdom. Bryophytes are also amphibians of the plant kingdom. Pteridophytes are also amphibians of plant kingdom, but these amphibians possesses vascular tissues. Then the main plant body is sporophyte. Then sporophytic plant body is differentiated into true roots present, true stems present, and true leaves are also present. True stems, true leaves and true roots present in pteridophytic plant body. In the root, generally it may be taproots or fibrous root system, and stem in some cases it is aerial, erect, or some cases it is prostrated. And the leaves in pteridophytes leaves may be small. And the small leaves are called microphylls as in Selaginella. So Selaginella is one of the pteridophyte. In Selaginella the leaves are small leaves, or in some cases the leaves may be large as in case of ferns. And the large leaves are called macrophylls. Phylon means leaf, micro means small leaves. So leaves may be small leaves as in Selaginella or large as in ferns. The small leaves are called microphylls, larger leaves are called macrophylls. Here in pteridophytes, so in previous videos I said angiosperms only produce flower. So flower is the site for sexual reproduction. But in pteridophytes, flowers are absent. That means sex organs usually they develop on leaves. The leaflets, compound leaves are also present. leaflets and leaves. Leaflets and leaves, they bearing sporangia. The leaflets and leaves which bearing sporangia. Sporangia means spore producing structure, and such leaves are called, such type of leaves are called sporophytes. Sporophytes means simply reproductive leaves. In pteridophytes, the leaves are microphytes and macrophytes. Similarly, so with respect to reproduction, the leaves are photosynthetic leaves and reproductive leaves. And simply reproductive leaves are known as sporophytes. Leaflets or any leaflet or any leaf which possesses sporangia is known as sporophytes. In pteridophytes like Selaginella and Equisetum, in pteridophytes like Selaginella and Equisetum, all these sporophytes, they are aggregated to form a compact structure, and this compact structure is known as strobili, or it is also known as cone, male cone and female cone, or the cone is also called lax. In some pteridophytes like Equisetum, all sporophytes are compacted, they are aggregated compactly to form a structure. This structure is known as strobili, cone or lax. And here the sporangia. What is sporangia? Spore producing structure. And this sporangia, internally it has sporogenous tissue. Internally sporangia has sporogenous tissue, and sporogenous tissue contain spore mother cell. Spore mother cell. Then this spore mother cell, it undergo reduction division or meiosis to form spores. Or in some cases, in some pteridophytes like Lycopodium and Dryopteris, they produce, these two pteridophytes, Lycopodium and Dryopteris, they produce same kind of spores. That means such spores are known as homospores, or these plants are known as homosporous. But some pteridophytes like Selaginella and Marsilia or Salvinia, they produce two different types of spores, both megaspores, female, and microspores, and such type of plants are known as heterosporous. Then majority of pteridophytes are homosporous. That means they produce same type of, both male and female spores are similar. Similar spores are known as homosporous, the plants are known as homosporous. But in some plants like Selaginella and Salvinia, the plants produce two different types of spores. Megaspore, mega means female spore and micro means male spore. And such type of plants are known as heterosporous condition. So heterospore is also present in some members of pteridophytes. And these both megaspores and microspores, male and female spores, they germinate to form both male and microspores germinate to form male gametophyte, and megaspore germinate to form female gametophyte. Here both homosporous or heterosporous spores, when they falling on suitable substratum, they germinate to give rise inconspicuous means small, free living spores germinate to give rise to inconspicuous, free living, photosynthetic thalloid gametophyte, that is known as prothallus. The formation of prothallus is the characteristic feature of pteridophytes. Only some of the pteridophytes like ferns, the spores germinate when they fall on suitable substratum. They germinate to give rise inconspicuous means small, free living. It make their own food. Photosynthetic thalloid gametophyte is known as prothallus. That means in pteridophytes, sporophyte is dominant. Sporophyte is dominant, while gametophyte is independent, not dependent. Gametophyte is not dependent on sporophyte. So gametophyte is a free living. Gametophyte is a free living, and this free living photosynthetic gametophyte is known as prothallus. And these gametophytes, both male and female gametophytes, they contain sex organs, both male and female sex organs. Male sex organ is called antheridium and female sex organ is known as archegonium. So fertilization process similar as in bryophytes. Male antheridium produce biflagellated haploid antherozoites, and female organ, it is a flask shape and it produced one of the fertile egg cell. And these gametophytes, both male and female gametophytes, usually they grow in cool and damp areas because they require water for fertilization. That's why the living pteridophytes are restricted to certain geographical regions. They are not spread in everywhere. They are not cosmopolitan. They are not cosmopolitan. They are restricted to the living pteridophytes, restricted to certain geographical regions because the gametophytes require water for external water for reproduction or fertilization. Here the male reproductive organ produce male organ or male gamete, and female sex organ produce female gamete. Antherozoids are flagellated. Flagellate means flagella present. For the free swimming of antherozoids, external sheet of water required. That's why the pteridophytes are also called amphibians of plant kingdom. The antherozoids, with the help of external sheet of water, they swim into archegonium and they enter into egg cell. They enter towards the egg cell and fuse to it. The result of or the fusion of both male and female gametes. When the male gamete move towards female gamete, so both are fused. When both male and female gametes are fused, the fusion of gametes results in the formation of zygote. Here, zygote immediately develops into embryo. Zygote immediately develops into embryo. Diploid embryo directly converted into diploid sporophyte. Diploid sporophyte. In some heterosporous pteridophytes like in some heterosporous pteridophytes like Selaginella and Salvinia, the female gametophyte actually it is retained in parent sporophyte. Generally both are separated. When both male and female gametophytes develop, they are separated or present in same plant. And in some cases the female gametophyte it retained in parent sporophyte for variable periods. When they are retained in parent sporophyte, when the conversion of zygote into young embryo, it is usually takes place in female gametophyte. And this condition, this heterosporous condition or heterospory or the development of zygote into embryo takes place in female gametophyte. This event is the precursor of seed producing habit. So seed producing habit, for formation of seeds, heterospory is mandatory, and heterospory also observed in some of the pteridophytes like Selaginella and Salvinia. But some of the heterosporous pteridophytes like Selaginella, Salvinia or Marshallea, they fail to produce seeds. They do heterosporous condition present, but they fail to produce seeds. So why they fail to produce seeds? Because in pteridophytes the protective layers are absent. Integuments absent. If integuments absent, if female gametophyte present, then also they are unable to produce seeds. And one more thing, the retention of megaspores. The retention of megaspores permanently within megasporangium. Within megasporangium, it has not been established. So due to these two characters, some of the heterosporous pteridophytes, they fail to produce seeds. But the seed producing habit is initially originated in pteridophytes. That's why Heterosporous pteridophytes are the precursor of seed producing plants like gymnosperms and angiosperms. And some of these both male and female gametophytes, the both male and female gametophyte produce in homosporous condition, then they are called monoecious. Monoecious means both male and female gametophyte produce in same plant or same individual. But if both male and female gametophyte produce in heterosporous species like these two, then this condition is known as dioecious. Dioecious means both male gametophyte and female gametophyte, they are present in different parents, two different parents, then it is known as dioecious condition. So these are the some important general characteristics of pteridophytes. So let us discuss the economic life cycle of pteridophytes. So in pteridophytes, what is the main body? The main body is, the dominant phase is sporophyte. Sporophyte is diploid. The sporophyte has sporophylls. Sporophytic plant body has leaves and some of the leaves are sporophylls. And sporophylls contain sporangia, spore producing structure, and internally it has spore mother cells, and spore mother cells are also diploid, from here to here diploid. Then spore mother cell undergo meiosis, reductional cell division, and it produce spores, and spores are haploid conditions, and spores germinate to give rise gametophyte. So this gametophyte is independent. Independent gametophyte is known as prothallus. This is not dependent. It is independent gametophyte. Independent gametophyte in some pteridophytes is known as gametophyte. And the gametophyte has both male and female sex organs. Male sex organ antheridium, female sex organ archegonium. And antheridium produce male gamete, that is antherozoid, and archegonium produce egg cell, that is female. Then both are fused, and both are fused, what is the result? Zygote. Then zygote develops into, zygote is again diploid, so zygote develops into embryo, embryo also diploid, then embryo transferred into sporophyte. So this is the life cycle of pteridophytes. And the pteridophytes they are classified into 4 classes. Pteridophytes, the division pteridophyte are divided into 4 classes. What are the 4 classes? Psilopsida, Spinopsida, Lycopsida. Actually this is the second one, this is the third one, and last one Pteropsida. So these are the 4 classes. Psilopsida. For Psilopsida, examples are Psilotum, Spinopsida, Equisetum. So Equisetum, generally it is known as Orsted. It is known as Orsted. And Lycopsida, Selaginella. It is also called resurrection plant. Resurrection plant. For Pteropsida, Azolla, one of the example, Pteris. So these are the some examples for each classes of pteridophytes. For each class there are 4 diagrams in NCERT textbook, so you have to refer in NCERT textbooks for diagrams. So let us discuss the economic importance of pteridophytes. So what is the economic importance? First one is soil binding. So some of the pteridophytes, they helps in binding of soil in hilly regions, and they also prevent soil erosion. And second one is medicines, and some pteridophytes like Dryopteris, they produce anthelmintic drug. Next, some of the pteridophytes are also, they grow as ornamentals. The leaves of some pteridophytes are used as ornamentals, and some of the stems of Equisetum, The stems of Equisetum, it is used as scouring. So scouring means the cleaning of utensils, or it is also used to polishing metals. So these are the some of the economically importance from some species of pteridophytes. So from this, the pteridophytes or the general characters of pteridophytes are totally completed. That means the subkingdom Cryptogamy is totally completed. In the next video, we will discuss about Phanerogamy subkingdom, and the Phanerogamy subkingdom has two divisions, that is Gymnospermae and Angiospermae.